Go ahead. It'll work.
Damn big government. There we go. Would you care for a walnut, sir?
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Congressman Dingell, and a good appearance on The Daily Show talking about auto efficiency standards, among other things. And, of course, President Obama is rolling out a new push for fuel efficiency today. He is poised to sign an executive order that, for the first time, will mandate standards for heavy trucks.
So joining us now to talk about it and preview it is Democratic Congressman John Dingell from Michigan. Congressman Dingell, it's an honor to have you on the show.
A great pleasure. Thank you.
So talk to us a little bit about what are the standards going to be? Right now, I believe on the light and midsize and heavy trucks, it's something like 23 miles to the gallon that they have to get in the fleet.
It comes out at 27.5 for automobiles and about 23 for the light.
And the new standards over the next 5 years is going to get up to how much? How much do we think it's going to get?
For automobiles, it's going to go up to 39. And for light-duty trucks, it's going to be 30. And that'll average out to be about 34. And the new standards will have to be fixed by 2011. And we're hoping that they will be standards with which we can work and which will, quite frankly, not hurt jobs and opportunity.
Well, how do the automakers feel about this? Are they happy to have the certainty, the guidance?
Well, the critical part is seeing to it that we have certainty and seeing to it that we have nationwide standards. If we have those two things, there's a wide area of reason that can be met.
Is this the concern you bring up, the nationwide? We've seen California sometimes will go try to get out ahead. It's usually California will try to get out ahead on some of these things when it comes to, is that the concern that maybe a California or another state will try to mandate a higher standard for some of these trucks?
California's been very helpful. Remember, the Obama administration, one of the first things they did was to fix national standards by agreement. And that's been one of my major concerns, is to seeing to it that we have those national standards. The founding fathers and everybody since has found you cannot run a country if you've got 50 states making 50 different standards. It's the same as if you balkanize the United States, and that's why Europe went the way they did in setting up the EU.
I want to talk to you about financial regulatory reform. As you know, it passed the Senate yesterday. You were one in 1999 who warned against the repeal of Glass-Steagall, which many people see as the granddaddy of what ultimately became the Great Recession. You say back then you said what we are creating now is a group of institutions which are too big to fail. Taxpayers are going to be called upon to cure the failures we are creating tonight, and it is going to cost a lot of money, and it is coming. Just be prepared for those events. This bill that was passed by the Senate does nothing about Glass-Steagall at the moment. Are you going to vote for the final bill if it doesn't change that?
Oh, everybody has got to vote for what comes out of it. First of all, the raw materials going in from both the House and the Senate in their bills are good. If they don't go far enough, it will be our fault. But we've got to seize this because you've seen the huge difficulty they had in getting the legislation. And basically, the bill is a good one. Basically, it does the things that have to be done. It doesn't return Glass-Steagall. I think that's a shame. But it does address somewhat the problem of being too big to fail. It enables the government to seize plants, seize companies of that kind, and wind them down in an orderly way before the trouble comes.
But do you see this as a financial regulatory bill that's going to have to be added on to at some point, in the same way that health care looks like to some says, well, it's a framework and they're going to have to keep adding on to it. Is that a good way to reform Wall Street if they're going to continue to have to add on?
Well, the last perfect law that was written, Moses brought off the top of Mount Sinai. and our problem here in a nutshell is if we don't do it that way, we're going to have, if we don't take advantage of the opportunities that come, we're going to have problems. This is a good bill as far as it goes. I want it to go further. But I'm also smart enough to know that we have gotten where we are, and we have to use this as a building block. Of course we're going to have to review, and of course we're going to find that there's things that have to be done. And, of course, we're going to find a bunch of Wall Streeters who are going to figure ways of getting around parts of it. And they've got a bunch of smart lawyers up there that are going to try and figure out how they make money at the expense of the ordinary citizens.
Let's talk about the Gulf oil spill. Do you think the Obama administration is being tough enough on BP? Do you think they're doing all that it can in connection with BP to try to stem the tide of this oil spill?
Well, unfortunately, BP has drilled at a place where the technology is not really up to the challenges or the threat or the problem that we have. I think the Obama administration is doing about everything that they can. The big problem is that VP is supposed to have the technology on hand and the ability to address these questions. They apparently don't. And so we have a fine mess on our hands. But VP has been very careless on these matters. I've had to investigate them twice. They've had big spills. They had a spill that let go over 1 million liters up in the Alaskan tundra.
Very quickly, you've served with 11 presidents. Because you came into Congress when you were 5. We're not going to say anything else. But you served with 11 presidents. Put this one in perspective with the other 10.
Every president is different. This one is trying very hard. He is really quite moderate, and that, I think, is good. He's provided remarkable leadership. He's had some extraordinary pieces of success. The health bill is a tremendous one. The financial reform bill, which is now proceeding, those are great successes. And administratively, he's done a remarkable job.
All right. You going to hold the House, Democrats, next fall?
Of course. By the way, the Pennsylvania election is something that the Republicans should be very much distressed about. The one race which involved the House or the two parties head-on was won by the Democrats.
Was a big morale booster in your caucus?
Yes, it is. And that's the 7th straight win we have had. Republicans have very little to crow about in these matters.
All right, Congressman Dingell, nice to have you here on our set. Appreciate your time.
It's a great pleasure. Thank you both.
Thank you.